हरे कृष्ण ग्रंथराज Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam की जय Śrīla Prabhupada की जय Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in story form chapter 100 the song of the bee deliverance of Krishna's message to the gopis canto 10 When the young gopis saw Uddhava they were astonished seeing his long arms lotus petal eyes yellow garments and lotus garland they wondered who is this handsome man? Where has he come from? And who is his fortunate wife? He is wearing Krishna's clothes and ornaments. Being unsophisticated village girls, the gopis surrounded Uddhava, and when they learned that he was a messenger from Krishna, they took him to a secluded place, bowing their heads in humility and honoring Uddhava with their smiling glances and pleasing words. They seated him comfortably, considering him to be a very great devotee of the Lord. The gopis said, We know that you are a personal servant of Krishna and have come here on the order of your master just to give pleasure to his parents. We see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in these cow pastures of Braja, and it is a fact that the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break even for great sages. The friendship that is shown to those who are not family members is motivated by personal interest, and thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such interest is like the interest that men have in women or bees in flowers. Prostitutes abandon a penniless man, subjects an incompetent ruler, students a teacher once they have finished their education, and priests a man who had remunerated them for performing a sacrifice. Birds abandon a tree when its fruit is gone, gets a house after eating, animals a forest that has been burned, and a lover the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him. In this way, the gopis took the opportunity to criticize Krishna, feeling that because he was now a man of the city, he had no more interest in the residents of Vrindavana. The gopis had put aside their regular duties because Krishna's messenger was present. While constantly remembering Krishna's childhood pastimes, they sang about him and cried without shame. One of the gopis, identified as Radharani in the Agni Purana, became so absorbed in thought of Krishna that when she saw a bumblebee trying to touch her feet, she took him to be a messenger from her beloved. This gopi then said, O friend of a cheater, do not touch me with your whiskers, which are smeared with the kumkuma that rubbed onto Krishna's garland from the breasts of a rival lover. After we had drunk the enchanting nectar of Krishna's lips only once, he suddenly abandoned us, just as you might abandon some flowers. How is it that the goddess of fortune willingly serves his lotus feet? Her mind must always have her mind also have been stolen by his deceitful words. Thinking that the bumblebee might be seeking some reward, the gopi continued, Why are you speaking about Krishna in front of us? Better you sing about him in front of his new girlfriends in Mathura. The burning desire in whose breasts has now been relieved. They will surely give you the charity you desire. Your master is called Uttama because of his magnanimous character, but The truth of the matter is that because of his hard-heartedness, we have become so downtrodden. Do not try to touch my feet. Having expertly learned diplomacy from Mukunda, you have no doubt come here to speak flattering words. But since he abandoned us, who for his sake gave up their husbands, children, and so much else, he is simply ungrateful. Why should I become reconciled with him now? You poor messenger, you are only a less intelligent servant. You do not know much about Krishna, how ungrateful and hard hearted he really is, not only in this life but in previous lives also. This we have heard from our grandmother Purnamasi. In a previous birth, he was a Kshatriya known as Ramchandra. Instead of fighting with Bali like a Kshatriya, he killed him like a hunter kills an animal while hiding behind a tree. When Surpanakha approached him, he should have satisfied her, but being so enamored by Sita, he disfigured her instead. Before that, he was born as a Brahmana known as Vamanadeva and had asked charity from Bali Maharaja. Bali was so magnanimous that he was ready to give anything, but Bamana was so ungrateful that he arrested him and then condemned him to live in the lower regions. We know very well how ungrateful Krishna is, and so we would like to give up all friendship with him. Still, the problem is that it is very difficult to give up hearing about him because such topics are nectar for the ears. One should be very careful not to hear about Krishna, for if even one drop of that nectar enters the ears, that person's dedication to family and possessions becomes cut off, and he is left to wander about, searching for him. O messenger, please talk of something besides Krishna. While Radharani was talking in this way, the bumblebee suddenly disappeared. Sorry. While Radharani was talking in this way, the bumblebee suddenly disappeared from her sight. As a result, she became almost mad, thinking that the bee might have returned to Krishna and informed him of her talks against him. When the bumblebee once again became visible, she considered that Krishna was very kind for overlooking her criticisms and thus had sent the messenger back to her. She then welcomed the bee and was very careful not to say anything more against Krishna. This special gopi then said, "It is very regrettable that Krishna now resides in Mathura. Does he remember his family and his friends, the cowherd boys? Does he ever talk about us, his maid servants? Is there any chance of his returning here?" Uddhava replied, "Certainly, you gopis are completely successful because you have attained an unexcelled standard of devotion for the Lord, the ecstasy of Mahabhava. Indeed, by exhibiting your love for Krishna in separation from him, you have shown me great mercy." Uddhava could understand that the gopis were more interested in hearing Krishna's message than hearing about themselves. While writing the message, Krishna had become very moved by strong feelings of love, and so his handwriting was not very clear. Because of this, Uddhava thought it best to read the message to the gopis and also explain it. The message was very gravely composed in such a way that all kinds of philosophers might understand how pure love of God is intrinsically integrated with the Supreme Lord's various energies. Sri Uddhava continued, "My good ladies, please hear the message that your beloved, gave me to deliver to you." Sri Krishna said, "My dear gopis, please know that separation of ourselves is impossible at any time, at any place, or under any circumstances, because I am the all pervading Lord. Just as the elements earth, water, fire, air, and ether are present in all created things, so I am present within everyone." When the gopis came to join Krishna in the rasa dance, he tried to dissuade them by preaching karma yoga, or in other words, by emphasizing ordinary morality. Now, Lord Krishna is offering them jnana yoga, but this is also not to their liking. Lord Krishna continued, just as one getting up from sleep may continue to meditate upon a dream, although illusory, so one may meditate upon the sense objects, even though they are also illusory, being temporary manifestations of matter. After carefully considering this, one should become fully alert and keep his mind absorbed in that which is permanent, thus bringing it under control. According to intelligent authorities, this is the goal of the Vedas as well as the practices of yoga, Sankhya, and renunciation. Just as the sea is the ultimate destination of all rivers. Truthfully, however, such transcendental knowledge of the Absolute is no longer necessary for you, because you are accustomed to love me from the very beginning of your lives. My dear gopis, the actual reason why I separated myself from you is that I wanted to intensify your meditation upon me and thus draw you closer to me. When her lover is far away, a woman thinks of him more than when he is present before her, because your minds are totally absorbed in me without any other engagement. You shall very soon have me again in your presence. The gopis were very pleased to hear Krishna's message, and they replied, "It is very good that Kṛṣṇa and his followers have all been killed. It is also very nice that Krishna is living with his relatives, for their every desire has thus been fulfilled. Is Krishna now bestowing upon the women of Mathura the pleasure that formerly was our exclusive property? We can imagine that those ladies worship him with glances enhanced by their shy, affectionate smiles. Sri Krishna is expert in all aspects of conjugal affairs, and so how can he not become entangled, being constantly enticed by their enchanting words and gestures? O saintly one, does Krishna ever mention us village girls as he talks freely with the women of Mathura? Does he recall those moonlit nights in the Vrindavana forest when he enjoyed the rasa dance with us? Will Krishna ever return here and by the touch of his limbs bring back to life those who are now burning with the grief that he himself has caused? But after winning a kingdom and marrying the daughters of kings, why should Krishna want to come back here? He must be very satisfied there, surrounded by his friends and well wishers. We should give up all hope of Krishna returning here. Pingala declared that the greatest happiness is achieved by renouncing all desires, and so this must certainly be true. Although we know this, still we cannot give up our hopes of getting Krishna back. Who can bear to give up the remembrance of the intimate talks we had with Krishna? Wherever we look in Vrindavana, we are simply reminded of the son of Nanda Maharaja. How can we forget him when our hearts have been stolen by the charming way he talks, his generous smile and playful glances, and his words like honey? From Uddhava's instructions, the gopis could understand that Krishna was not actually separated from them. Recognizing Uddhava as non different from Krishna, the gopis worshipped him just as if he was their spiritual master. Indeed, the gopis acknowledged that Uddhava's talks relieved them from their burning distress due to separation. After witnessing the gopis' condition in separation, Uddhava thought it wise to narrate the pastimes of Krishna to them again and again. At the request of the gopis, Uddhava remained in Vrindavana for several months, and his association was very enlivening for all its inhabitants. As he wandered around the Vrindavana area, Uddhava asked the people questions about the Lord's pastimes that were associated with each place. In this way, he constantly reminded everyone of Krishna so that each day seemed to pass as if it were just a moment. Being deeply appreciative of the gopis' complete attachment to Krishna, Uddhava composed songs in praise of them. He actually wanted to fall before the gopis and take the dust of their feet upon his head, but being afraid that they would be disagreeable, he instead began to hope that he would one day become a clump of grass in Vrindavana so that he could receive the dust of the gopis' feet without their knowledge. Uddhava sang, of all persons on this earth, these gopis have attained the highest perfection, for they have achieved unalloyed love for Krishna. How astonishing is how astonishing it is that these simple women who wander in the forest, seemingly spoiled by improper behavior, have achieved such a perfection. When Lord Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, they were embraced by his arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddesses of fortune, and so, what to speak of the beautiful women in the heavenly planets, whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the lotus flower, and certainly this fortune was never attained by the women of this world, who are simply beautiful according to earthly estimation. The gopis gave up the association of their husbands, children, and other family members, which is very difficult to do, and had forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter at the lotus feet of Mukunda. Let me be fortunate enough to become one of the bushes, creepers, or plants in Vrindavana, because while trampling them, the gopis bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. Lord Brahma and the other demigods can worship the lotus feet of Krishna only within their minds, but during the Rasa dance, Lord Krishna placed his feet upon the gopis' breasts, and by embracing those lotus feet, they give up all distress. When the gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. After some time, Uddhava desired to return to Mathura, and so he took permission from Nanda and Yashoda. After bidding farewell to the cowherd men and women, Uddhava mounted his chariot. The residents of Vrindavana then approached Uddhava, bearing presentations, and with tears in their eyes they said, May our minds always take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. May our words always chant his names. And may our bodies always bow down to him and serve him. Wherever we are made to wander about this world by the wherever we are made to wander about this world by the Supreme Lord's will in accordance with the reactions to our fruitive work. May our good works and charity always grant us love for Lord Krishna. Uddhava returned to Mathura and after falling at the Lord Krishna's lotus feet to offer obeisances, he described to him the incomparable devotion of the residents of Vrindavana. Uddhava also described all these to Vasudeva, Lord Balarama, and Ugrasena, and presented to them the gifts he had brought with him. हरे कृष्ण ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, हरि बोल।